For tonight's meeting.
Good evening, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Town of Babylon Zoning Board of Appeals. The following is the procedure that will be followed tonight. The matters will be called in the order they appear on the calendar, with adjourned matters being called at the end of the regularly scheduled matters. Matters cannot be heard prior to their published scheduled time. When your matter is called, please submit the affidavit of posting to the secretary and proceed to the podium and give your name and address. The chairperson will then swear you in and read into the record information we have from your application, comments from various town departments, and any correspondence received on your application. The chairperson will then ask you to make whatever presentation you wish to make to the board. After you have made your presentation, the board will ask whatever questions the board deems appropriate, and then we will ask for comments from the public. If you wish to speak for or against an application, we ask that you wait until you're acknowledged. Come forward, give us your name and address, tell us where your property is in relation to the property that's in question tonight, and then please direct your comments to the board, not the applicant or the applicant's representative. We have to keep a record, and we cannot do that if there are people talking over each other or cross conversations. If someone has spoken for or against an application, and they have said exactly the same thing that you wish to say, it will have the same force and effect in the record if you give your name and address, are sworn in, and say that you join in those comments. If you have anything additional to say, please don't hesitate to do so, but keep in mind that you will be given only one opportunity to speak. After the public has spoken, the board may ask the applicant to come back to answer any questions that may have come up as a result of the public comments, or for the applicant to summarize. When the applicant comes back to answer any additional questions, if that happens, that does not start a second round of public comments. Once the matter has been heard, various things may occur. The board may decide the application immediately. It may reserve decision. If the board reserves decision, that does not mean the matter is approved or denied. It just means that the board needs more time to decide, may want to go out and look at the site again, or might want to review the documents and testimony further before making a decision. In either event, the applicant will receive the board's decision in writing shortly after the board makes its decision. If the application is approved, that does not mean that you can then go ahead and start construction or whatever it is that you requested from the board. You will have to wait for the building permit to be obtained from the building department before your go-ahead. On some occasions, the matter may be continued for another night. If it is continued, in most cases it will be for the submission of documents, a new survey, new plans, or something of that nature. If that's the case, no one needs to come back on the new date. The documents will be submitted and no further testimony will be taken. On rare occasions, a matter may be continued for future testimony. If that's the case, then people would have to come back to testify. If matters are adjourned at an open meeting on the scheduled date of hearing, no further notice need be given unless specifically required by the board on the date the adjournment is granted. 3 rules that may affect your ability to proceed tonight. 1. If the sign was not posted for 10 days, we cannot hold the hearing tonight. 2. If you commence this proceeding while you own the property, but no longer own the property, and you are here now to continue with the application, you will need either the written consent of the new owner or the new owner to be present for the hearing. This situation could come about if you sold your house or building, money was held in escrow at closing for a certificate of occupancy or permit, and you're here tonight to clear that up. Lastly, if your application is a commercial application and it's other than a renewal, and there is more than one tenant in the building, then you need your landlord to be here. Is there any applicant that has any difficulty with those situations and would need an adjournment tonight?
Is there anybody that would need an adjournment? Please rise and join the board in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First application tonight is application 24048 of Fanny Diaz, property located in North Babylon. Oh.
Here we go.
Kelly Bennett,
Okay.
1257 Udall Road, Bay Shore, New York, 11706.
Do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
For the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated April 12, 2024. Environmental Control memo dated April 15, 2024. Approved this application will not result in significant impact. A survey by Elizabeth McQuilkin dated July 18, 2023. Tax map acting as an area map. And
Mr. Chairman, we have 22 photos and a set of plans by registered architect Emmanuel NK10 Addy, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, dated 6/21/23.
okay, what would you like to tell us about the application?
Good evening. I'm here tonight on behalf of both Ms. Fanny Diaz, property owner, as well as Manuel Addy, the architect. The clients basically purchased this home back in July and October, did receive a stop work order. So there was a complaint for work being done at the house. So basically, we're here tonight before the zoning board seeking one area variance and permission to diminish our rear yard setback from the required 30 feet to 18'7" with a 2-foot roof overhang for a rear addition that was existing when my client purchased but did not have permits. There is an existing deck that meets setbacks. We've read through all the planning memos. Our plans actually do show that deck to be refurbished. It's in quite bad condition. So basically, the scope of work that was done, the garage was converted to a really beautiful open family room. That rear addition was converted into like a nook and dining area. So really nice open layout. Plans are signed and sealed and include all the scope of work, that was done to the home. So they're just looking to get everything in order tonight so they could proceed with building department.
Okay, thank you. Turn the hearing over to Mr. Shepherd.
Thank you. So the rear deck and the steps? Oh, hello. The rear deck and the stairs are going to be repaired?
They are.
And the
They're
back of the
shown
house
on
and
the
everything?
plans to be refurbished.
And what's the plan for the shed?
The shed will be relocated to conforming location,
Okay, and legalized,
as well as we would agree to the deck not being enclosed.
further enclosed?
Yep.
And you're going to legalize this shed. All right, Mr. Chairman, I don't think I have any further questions.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve application 24-048 with the condition that the rear deck not be enclosed and that the shed either be removed or legalized.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Next application is application 24050, revocable trust of Robert D. Giovanni and Melanie D. Giovanni, property located in Copeg. Name and address for the record, please.
So Robert D. Giovanni, 59 Shore Drive South, Copeg, 11726.
Okay, do you affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
For the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated April 11, 2024, Environmental Control memo dated April 15, 2024. There's a note on here, you should have a copy of this also. Property is located within 300 feet of a regulated title of wetlands. The applicant should ascertain if a New York State DEC would require a title wetlands permit for the project. You should have a copy of that. You need to just make sure you don't need a
I
permit.
do, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Suffolk County Planning Memo dated April 9, 2024, decision of local determination. Take no position for or against. A site plan by Architect PC. Dated where? No date, I don't think there's a date on this, yeah, I didn't see one. There's also a survey here by Frank A. Restudio, also not dated. It's a tax map acting as an area map, and
Mr. Chairman, we have a site plan here dated July 30th, 2021 by architect Frank Restituto, and 18 photographs.
okay. What would you like to tell us about the application?
I'm requesting an increase from the existing shed to approximately 70 square feet. I could use the additional space to store a generator, a snow blower, and some medical equipment, as my wife is unfortunately in need of oxygen. And other than that, I'm just hoping that you guys request that. It'll give me a little bit more room to not only put up my stuff that I normally would store in the shed, but it'll give me a little bit more room for the additional medical equipment.
Okay, thank you. Turn the hearing over to Mr. Dellavecchia.
Good evening, how are you? How long have you lived at the property?
We purchased it in 1997.
So that's when you put your first variance in to increase the driveway and all that stuff and put the two-car garage?
Basically,
Well, now it's a three-car garage.
it's 3 cars, but we only use 2.
Okay.
The other one is used for cabinets, you know, for storage, that kind of stuff.
Would it be possible to put the shed somewhere else?
Say again?
Would it be possible to relocate the shed somewhere else along the property? Because you have a lot of space back there.
Not really. It's the only spot that I could, you know, do it feasibly.
If you put it more in the back, then you wouldn't even need a variance.
Yeah, but that's going to kill my entire backyard. I mean, my grandkids play in the back. What am I going to do? It's kind of, it'll ruin my entire backyard.
Yeah. What about using one of the garage bays that you don't use?
Well, I've got 2 cars. And that's going to be extremely difficult. If I don't have the shed, I've got a major issue. I mean, with all my tools and snow shovels and the additional stuff that I need for my wife, it's going to be difficult.
And when was the driveway installed?
Driveway was completed maybe 2 years before I bought the house. That question, I don't understand that I'm increasing the driveway in front yard. I haven't done anything with that. The shed is not going to compromise that. The driveway was as it was in 1997 when I purchased the house.
So you haven't redone the driveway since 1997?
Have not touched it, no. It's
Okay. I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. We're going to close.
I'm sorry, can we just make an amendment? If we have it advertised as Shore Road, we implement it as Shore Drive.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to amend application 24-050 from 59 Shore Road South to 59 Shore Drive South.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. We're going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. You'll get the decision in the mail, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next application is application 24046 of CMA Construction Management Advisory Services, Inc., property located in West Babylon.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is John Stalakis. I'm counsel with Farrell Fritz, 100 Motor Parkway, Suite 300, Hauppauge, New York, 11788. We represent the applicant, CMA Construction Management Advisory Services, Inc. With me here this evening is Ed LaCalzi on behalf of CMA. I'm not sure if the board wants to acknowledge the reports before I begin.
Thank you. For the record, we have a planning division memo dated April 12th, 2024. Environmental control memo dated April 16th, 2024. There's a number of items on here. You should have a copy of that. A survey by Lawrence Michael Haynes dated December 8th, 2023. Tax map acting as an area map. And
Mr. Chairman, we have 3 photographs and a plot plan by a Rudolph S. Shatara dated October 12th, 2023.
And we are still missing the affidavit of posting.
you guys have the affidavit?
Yes, we have a copy of a PDF. We will get the original to the town.
Okay. Okay, would you like to tell us about the application?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know that the book is quite sizable. I don't intend on parsing through every page. I just want the record to be clear. The subject premises are a 40 by 100 lot comprising 4,000 square feet of undeveloped land. They are zoned Residence C. They are located on the south side of Manhattan Avenue between Lenox Road and Hubbard's Path, also sometimes referred to as 264 Manhattan Avenue in West Babylon. Exhibits 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are various aerial maps, tax maps showing the lay of the land, pretty much what you already have on the screen behind you. CMA proposes constructing a 2-story single-family home with an internal garage. Exhibit tabs 6, 7, 8, and 9 show a survey of the property, site plans, elevations, and floor plans, so you can get the gist of what we're proposing for the site. In connection with constructing the single-family dwelling, CMA seeks the following area variances from the board: a relaxation from the minimum lot area requirement. We propose 4,000 square feet where 7,500 square feet is required. Relaxation from the minimum width requirement. We propose 40 feet where 75 feet is required. Relaxation from the aggregate side yard requirement. We propose 16 feet where 25 feet is required. And relaxation from the individual side yard requirement. We propose 6 feet where 10 feet is required on the westerly side. The planning memorandum indicates or questions whether or not the applicant proposes an egress window for the basement. The applicant does. It's approximately 3 feet 7 inches off the back of the house. So to the extent that the board determines that requires variance from the rear yard setback, we're presently at 30 feet. So if we include the egress window, we would need additional relief for that of approximately 26.5 feet where 30 feet is required. In determining whether to grant area variances, the board considers the 5 factors in weighing the benefit to the applicant against any detriment to the neighborhood's health, safety, and welfare. First, granting the relief will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. 4,000 square foot lots are ubiquitous in this area. Exhibit 10 is a radius map with an index showing all the 4,000 square foot or similarly sized lots in the area. You'll pick up approximately 16 lots within 1,000 to 1,500 square feet of the subject premises. Exhibit 11 are about 12 responsive FOIL document cases and other materials related to similarly sized lots with similarly sized houses in the immediate vicinity. Many of the dwellings are 2 stories, which we propose, and all the building footprints that I saw in the plans in these FOIL materials at Exhibit 11 show a larger building footprint than what we propose. So we're proposing a smaller building area. Many of these properties are also identified on the town's property viewer service as mother-daughters or appear to have additional entrances which are indicia of multiple dwelling units, and many of those dwelling units don't have a garage for parking or storage. Exhibit 12 is Google Street Views throughout the area of some of these houses, and at the top you'll see the address of where those houses are located, or those dwellings are located. Notably, the board approved an extraordinarily similar application for a 2-story dwelling on an undersized lot with insufficient width and front yard setbacks at 93 Cheltenham just last year. That is at Exhibit 13, which includes street views of the site prior to development, the zoning board's approval, as well as pictures of what the house looks like that is built there today. Hubbard's Path is, a heavily trafficked cut-through area, and the board granted an 11-foot setback where 30 feet is required for one front yard, and a 20-foot setback where 30 feet is required from the other front yard lot line. This lot is a peninsula or a corner lot that fronts on Cheltenham, Columbus, and Hubbard's that require the greater setbacks, yet still receive relief. And, typically zoning ordinance require greater setbacks for corner lots for motorist and pedestrian safety, given how cars need visibility, et cetera. So CMA's request for relief here, their requests are far less significant and more in keeping with the nature and character of the area. One other thing I would point out is at Exhibit 15, there's a comparison of the net lot area post-dedication or easement. So at Exhibit 15, there's a comparison of the subject property at 264 Manhattan and that other property that was approved last year at 93 Cheltenham Road. There's similar lot sizes, but when you consider the net lot area post-dedication, the Cheltenham lot drops to 3,300 approximately, and our lot will only drop to 3,800 because we have a 5-foot dedication along the frontage to match the neighboring properties. And this one's not developed. The other ones are developed. Obviously, they got their dedication, and we're going to follow suit doing that. Additionally, not too long ago, the board also approved a subdivision of a 10,000 square foot lot which had an existing dwelling into 2 undersized lots of 5,000 square foot each for the construction of another home at the southwest corner of Lafayette and Peconic, and the details and images of that project are at Exhibit 14. So in all, CMA's proposal is less impactful and will not result in an undesirable change. If I may run through the rest of the factors briefly. Second, the relief sought cannot be achieved by some other feasible method. The lot size and width cannot change, and the other variances emanate directly from the size of the lot, 40 by 100. So the lot area and shape affect the setback, so due to the width, the dwelling requires the setback reliefs. It's worth noting that CMA proposes a modest dwelling, and it satisfies the front yard and rear yard setbacks, but for the egress window if that becomes necessary. Third, although the requested relief might appear substantial in the abstract, quantitatively or numerically, the proposal is not qualitatively substantial in view of the totality of the circumstances and the overall effect of granting the relief, given the pattern of area development in the neighborhood. Moreover, where physically feasible, the proposal falls well within the dimensional requirements. So the proposed height is 3 feet lower than permitted, and the building area is almost 300 square feet, or 7% less than permitted. Fourth, the proposal will not have an adverse impact on the physical environment. It's a type 2 action under seeker, and the area is already heavily developed with residences. And fifth, while the hardship might be self-created to the extent that the applicant purchased an undersized lot, this factor is not dispositive, and the proposal seeks the least relief feasible. It should be noted that the proposed dwelling would provide much-needed housing stock to Long Island. Regarding any concerns of precedent, the precedent's already set by the nature and character of the area, and this is one of the last, if not the last, undeveloped parcels in this area, so prospectively that shouldn't be a concern for the board. This proposed dwelling includes a 1-car garage and a sizable driveway for off-street parking. The dwelling will be sewered, so it will not be pumping effluent or discharge into the local groundwater, and the developing the lot will obviously add new construction to the tax base, which is an appreciable community-wide benefit. So for these reasons, granting the variances will result in a benefit to both the applicant and the community, and we respectfully request that the board grant the relief. I thank you for your time and consideration. I will let Mr. LaCalzi speak, and we're happy to answer any questions.
You going to speak?
I'm just going to introduce myself.
Okay. Need your name and address for the record.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Ed LaCalzi, Shatar Engineering, and CMA Group. So if you have any questions that I can answer for you, I'm ready to do that.
Okay. I'm going to turn the hearing over to Mr. Shepherd.
Hi, how are you? You may have said it, but what style home are we proposing here?
It's a postmodern home. It looks very similar to about 4 of the adjacent parcels that are there. We have the plans here if you'd like me just to show you the elevation.
Is it a cape, ranch?
2-story ranch.
High ranch? Inline high ranch?
There's always, I guess, a question of what that means, but it's not a high ranch. I guess it would be more like an inline ranch. If you don't mind, I can just show you briefly.
I have the prints, I just don't, I got enough.
It's also on Exhibit 8.
High ranch with a gable.
Front elevation, side elevation, rear elevation, two-story ranch. Generally conforming to some of the other looks of the other vernaculars in the area.
Okay, and what about a basement? You guys did some test boring?
Yeah, test boring was provided. It has a depth of 8.5 feet. The actual depth of the proposed foundation would be at 7 feet, so it would be about 1.5 feet higher than the groundwater level, as proposed.
At that particular time, I suppose. It's problematic to that area, and we need to be aware of. And what about a regress, yeah, I'm sorry, what am I, egress, I'm sorry, what did I say, regress? Window, you're proposing one? Is that what the gentleman said?
Yeah, based on New York State code today, it's required to have an egress window at minimum in the cellar level or basement level. And
That would be, we need to amend that, or?
it was a recommendation also, I think, from the planning board that one be proposed.
And you've read all the CNRs?
Yes,
You agree to all of them?
yes.
Okay. I have no further questions at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Just to go back to the Cheltenham application.
Yes.
That house is sold?
Yes,
It is sold. So when you came here for the application with the husband and wife that pleaded hardship about that piece of property that they purchased,
yes.
that was, they are the owners.
Actually, they are not the owners.
Not
It could-
the
Their
So it was
financing didn't work.
misrepresented at the time.
Right, their financing didn't work out. That was the only difficulty.
So it was a misrepresentation. Okay, thank you.
So, basement that's going to have the egress window, what's going to be down in that basement? Or would you agree to, it wouldn't be bedrooms or anything, just an open basement?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I didn't hear.
The basement.
Yes,
So what is the plan for the basement?
it's to be a full basement.
Okay, and there, you would agree that there wouldn't be living space down there as far as
Correct,
bedrooms and such like that?
correct. House is very well suited as as a conventional three-bedroom home, so the basement would be purely storage. And willing to add any additional information to,
Okay, I also have one other question, and this may go back to council.
Okay.
All of these houses that are listed here on the radius map and the foil material index map, do any of these have approvals from this board?
The foil materials are a little challenging to read. Some of them are a little bit older. So off the top of my head, I don't want to misspeak. Other than the subdivision that I mentioned that was approved by the zoning board and Cheltenham, offhand, I'm not perfectly sure, to be honest with you. And regardless of whether or not the board itself has issued the approvals, whether they predate what upzoning might have occurred, et cetera, they do form the character and nature of the area with respect to that area variance factor.
Okay, so you don't know if they have approval from this board is the answer.
I would have to take a closer look, yes, correct.
Okay, that's good, thank you.
And one other thing, can you give me a breakdown of the rooms and what we're proposing there, bedrooms, baths, kitchens, et cetera?
Okay. Are you able to see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the basement is to your left. That's the proposed basement level. With your egress, the egress window is towards the top of the page right there, a little that push out. This is the proposed first floor. You have the foyer. You have a living room area, dining room, a kitchen. You have your mud room with a half bath and a one-car garage. And then if we go upstairs, on the second floor, the stairs come up to a foyer. There's bedroom 1, bedroom 2. And then across the hall is a washer and dryer. Then you have a full bath, and then you move on to the master with a master closet and a full bath as well. Well, it's, I guess a 3/4. That looks like a shower. But.
Right, very modest in its size.
Thank you.
Based on the basement and the test board. The plans I was provided have the basement at 8 feet 11 under subsurface.
I think it's just an interpretation of how it's presented. The test board takes a grade elevation, basically, and a depth, hypothetically, a grade elevation of 0, and it penetrates the soil down 8.5 feet. As the plans show you, the datum elevation of the first floor is 2 feet. Grade is at 1.5 feet. So therefore, you get a 7-foot deep excavation in its entirety.
Okay. And one other note, I noticed there wasn't a date on the test board. We usually compare it to historical groundwater data. You have a date for that. I'd like to check where that is relevant.
I'm sorry, I'm just having a little trouble hearing you, but it's okay.
I didn't notice a date on the test bore. We like to compare it to historical groundwater levels.
Right.
If you could just provide a date that it was taken.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Appreciate
of course. Of course.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? Come on up. You pull that down a little. Name and address for the record, please.
Patricia Drescher, 19 Fordham Road, West
And
Babylon.
do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
What would you like to tell us?
Okay, that piece of property is way too small for a two-story house. And the house on Cheltenham is not sold that I know of because the for sale sign is still in front of it and everything is way too tight on that road. When they built on that road, they had all the construction area. If they build on this road, they have the narrowest area, and my father lives next door with them, and he's handicapped, and with all the construction areas and where everything that they need to bulldoze everything and build, and they'll be on that road. There's nowhere for them to go. I mean, to make a house that big on that property, it's changing all the rules of, I mean, I own a house in Colpeg, and they wouldn't let us build a second house, and we have much more property than that. I just think it's ridiculous that a house be built on such a tiny piece of property. I lived there 28 years ago, and that piece of property was still there. And I could probably get a petition from all the neighbors because they thought it was getting cleaned up because it's woods. They didn't know that they were trying to build a house on it. So I could probably come back and have a petition from every neighbor in the neighborhood.
If you choose to do that, that's your right.
Okay.
We'll keep the record open for you.
Okay.
But we'll give you a time limit on how long we're going to keep the record open, okay?
Okay. And what would I do? Bring that to the front when I get it?
Bring it to...
Okay. All right.
Would anyone else like to be heard on this application? Come on up.
How you doing, Council? My name is Joseph Gargiulo. I'm a resident of the house to the right of in the picture. As she said, too, it's absolutely way too small for a house to be there. If we built even a two-story house, I feel like that's an invasion of privacy. It's almost on the fence line. It seems like it's way too close. If you look at the house on the bottom, kind of to the right, it's almost the same property, and it's right on top of the neighbors. I think it's not a smart idea to have it there. On top of that, I want to point out that you mentioned a lot of things are under requirements, which is, I mean, one thing here and there is it could be foreseen, but it's just every requirement almost is under where it needs to be. I don't think it's a smart idea to have a house that big there. She also pointed out the house in the corner. I pass that house every single day, and there's about less than a foot from the fence to the yard. And it's not really a smart idea. I don't know why we're trying to squeeze those in these small little places, but I'm definitely opposed to it, and I think we're going to get a petition, if that's okay, too.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, do we have to sign anything today, or?
No, no, you don't. No, that's.
All right, that's it. Thank you
Everything's
so-
being recorded.
All right, thank you.
All right. Would anyone else like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. So we are going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. You want to come back? Go ahead, real quick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, we're happy to speak with the surrounding property neighbors to see if there's anything we can do to help assuage any concerns. With respect to getting around during construction, I mean, any construction site's going to cause temporary issues, so, you know, I don't know if we can do much about that. I'm unfamiliar with the area in Copeg that can't be built, even though it's larger. I don't know if that's a different size neighborhood. Maybe there's bigger lots, bigger houses, but this is certainly in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. You know, if they decide to bring a petition, you know, we'll address that as it comes. And then with respect to being under requirements, you know, that's why we're here at the zoning board, to seek relief from some of the requirements. It's not true that we don't satisfy any of the requirements. As I noted, we meet the front yard and rear yard, other than the egress window, the height, the building area. There's a litany of requirements that we do satisfy. We just don't satisfy the 4 that we asked for relief from. And that's all I have. If Mr. Lick.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, the board, there was one comment about the house not being sold. House was sold immediately before construction even started. So that house is sold, and clients are being able to move in shortly. I think probably within the next couple of weeks.
It wasn't sold to the people that were here when you came here, that this was a hardship, right?
Thereafter, their financing wouldn't be approved, so it was just put up on the market, and it was sold immediately. So.
But it was presented as a hardship. That's why, you know, with that piece of property.
So I apologize for any misunderstanding about that, but the client was desperately wanted the home for sale, and obviously we were willing to sell it, and to anyone, obviously. It's an open market to anyone. But I can assure you Cheltenham is sold, and if you need any information regarding that, we wouldn't have a problem providing it for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. I will keep the record open if you wanted to. We'll keep. Yeah, our next hearing date is May 2nd. If you can get that to the zoning board office prior to that, we will accept it at that point, all right? All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming down. Thanks, you guys, for your presentation. Thanks. Next application is application 24045 of Vineyards of Farmingdale, LLC, property located in East Farmingdale. Name and address for the record.
Daniel Falasco, offices at 94 Steuben Boulevard, Nesconset, New York, here on behalf of Stu Leonards.
And you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
For the record, we have a planning division memo dated April 12th, 2024, environmental control memo dated April 15th, 2024. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. A site plan by Daniel Falasco dated 1/5/24, tax map acting as an area map, and
4 photographs, Mr. Chairman. Okay. The site plan.
What would you like to tell us about the application?
We're just here to renew the permit for the signs that are on the building. There are 6 signs. I think, I'm just looking at the board, I think, Mr. Kane, you're the only one maybe who was here when this started 11 years ago or whatnot. 3 of those signs were required by the New York State Liquor Authority because of the fact that Stu Leonards owns several wine shops in different family names. So basically, when you see doing business at Stu Leonards, those things were required by the New York State Liquor Authority. The other issue basically is that when you count the signs, my understanding, if I recall from 11 years ago, that the wine and spirit sign is actually considered 2 or 3 signs because they're spaced far apart from each other. Basically, the only signs we would have needed without the New York State Liquor Authority is the Stu Leonards of Farmingdale and the wine and spirit sign. There's been no change to the sign since they were installed, and we respectfully request a 100-year renewal, but I know I'm not going to get that. You were kind enough last time to give us 5. I'm not so sure if I will be representing them in 5, but we would appreciate 5 again. That's it.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none.
Thank you very much.
I'll make a motion to approve application, where'd it go? 24045 for a period of 5 years. All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next application is application 24049 of Ultra Beauty, property located in West Babylon.
Hi, good evening.
Oh, yeah.
Doreen?
My granddaughter.
Which one's Doreen?
She had me in here all the time.
My daughter's been waiting and waiting.
Children
Hi.
3. 2.
Last but not least, huh? It's exciting.
Need your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. My name is Jennifer Ronneberger. My company is Go Permit. My address is 9061 Woodlark Terrace, Boynton Beach, Florida, 33472.
Do you affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
For the record, we have a planning division memo dated April 12th, 2024, environmental control memo dated April 15th, 2024. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. This is a site plan showing the new store by Atlas, and I don't see, oh yeah, there is. August 22nd, 2022 is the date on it. Tax map acting as an area map, and?
We have 7 photographs, Chairman.
Would you like to tell us about the application?
Sure, absolutely. So we are here for a signage variance request for Ulta Beauty in the Great South Bay Shopping Center. Our request is to install one illuminated wall sign on the south elevation of the facade. The sign is composed of white illuminated channel letters reading Ulta Beauty with a logo that measured 5'6" high by 13'9" length on an orange background which measures 7 feet high by 20 foot length, and the square footage of that totals 140 square feet. So the code section we're asking for is for 213-400.d, which is no wall sign shall exceed 500 feet in length by 6 feet in height. So we're requesting the variance for the height based on our location that fronts the parking lot with an excessive setback of 510 feet from the main street frontage. Along with that, there is a TD Bank location that sits right in front of our business that limits visibility. And while there is an existing freestanding sign on the property, we're not utilizing the freestanding sign for tenant panels because there isn't any availability for our store. So that's it. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Okay. I'll turn the hearing over to Mr. Shepherd.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So this is going right on the fascia, right in front of the building?
That's correct.
Okay, I have no further questions, Mr.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are not.
So say, are you coming up?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve application 24-049 for a period of 5 years.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
My granddaughters will be there.
Yeah, so my daughter.
Right after you.
Okay, that ends the live stream portion of our meeting. We will continue on with the rest of the 7 of CarStar Auto Space, property located in Copeg. 7 of CarStar Auto Space, property located in Copeg has been adjourned to May the 2nd,